Hello everybody, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about Jupiter's transit through the nakshatra of Purva Bhadrapad for the months of March and April. Jupiter enters this lunar mansion on the 2nd of March and it exits on the 28th of April. So all of March and all of April. This nakshatra is, three parts of this lunar mansion is in Aquarius, one part is in Pisces. So this transit is, for the rest of its journey through Aquarius. And from the 20th degree of Aquarius to the 3 degrees 20 minutes of Pisces, we have this transit. This nakshatra is very important for spirituality, and this nakshatra gives us the power and the strength to evolve, spiritually. If you see some of the symbols of this nakshatra, one is a sword, which indicates the power to cut through all the difficulties and all the negativity of the world. So bring more clarity in life, cut through the negativity, come to the truth, come to what's important, come to the reality, cut through all the illusion. Can also be cutting through all the materialistic things of life and finding the right path, the true path, the spiritual path. But definitely it means cutting through the negativity and finding the truth. It can also mean cutting oneself off from the past, from the lives that we've led in the past, and starting afresh, doing something new, moving to a different phase in life. Because the other symbol of this nakshatra is a two-faced person looking in two different directions, showing one face looking at the past, one face looking at the future. So it's almost like seeing two sides of a situation, or looking at the past and looking at the future. So almost like a big turn of events, something changing, leaving something behind. Even the sword shows cutting off ties from something in the past and moving towards the future. Or like I said, it can be seeing a situation from all its different angles, or it can be seeing what you were in the past and what you can be in the future. So it's a very, very transformative nakshatra, especially considering it bridges the signs of Aquarius and Pisces we know is the 12th sign in the zodiac. It is all about renunciation and evolving towards higher beings. It's a very, very spiritual sign. So this is the lunar mansion that bridges these two signs. So it's an important star and it shows some kind of a transformation. It can be on the material realm. It can be where a situation changes, where you leave things behind. It can be now suddenly you start seeing things from all different angles in an objective manner. And it can be an important time to cut off from situations in the past which you have been stuck up with, and you've not had the strength or the will or the power to cut yourself off from those situations. It can also show having the power to now cut off past ties, past connections, and move on to something new and fresh. So it's a very, very important nakshatra. Not easy, but it's important, and it does show a lot of changes. So there's cutting off from something, and there is looking at something from two sides, or looking at the past, leaving it behind, and then maybe moving on towards the future. So now I'm going to be talking about for all the nakshatras. You should see where your moon is posited, in which lunar mansion, and from that you can see the result of this particular transit for you. I will start from the Jupiter ruled nakshatras, because this particular nakshatra, Purva Bhadrapad, is also ruled by Jupiter. So for Vishakha, Purva Bhadrapad and Punarvasu, this is a Janam Tara for you. It gives kind of mixed results. It's not a very positive time. It's not a very negative time. It's definitely transformative. It's going to be impacting you majorly, especially Purva Bhadrapad, because it's transiting over your moon. And it's going to, make you restless. Definitely time for new beginnings. Some new ideas, new thoughts, new plans could be coming your way. For Vishakha, it's You're going to have some new motivations regarding your career. This could be new opportunities related to career or some kind of new motivation for learning something. Punarvasu, it's a time of learning, receiving, conceiving. Some of you people who've been wanting children could be blessed with a child. So it's a good time. But a lot is going to be on your mind, especially for Purva Bhadrapad and for Vishakha related to your career. Lot is going to be on your mind in a positive manner. Then the Saturn ruled nakshatras, which are Uttar Bhadrapad and Pushya and Anuradha. So this is a fortunate time for you, especially Uttar Bhadrapad. Uttar Bhadrapad, there will be some kind of a professional achievement, some kind of a status can be there. If you have a Jupiter Dasha and if the promise is also there in your chart, it's a very positive time. This transit is very supportive. And even for the other two, for Pushya and Anuradha, it's a very supportive time. You could have, some teacher, some mentor, some good friend, some learned friend come and support you. Supportive people will come your way who will support you in whatever you're doing. Then the Mercury ruled nakshatras, which are Ashlesha, Jyeshtha and Revati. Again, a supportive time for you as well. Especially for the Ashlesha people, there can be some kind of an expansion related to your social dealings. You may be interested in, some kind of a Jupiterian act, some kind of a Jupiterian thing like learning, teaching. You could be interested in teaching, to bigger groups of people, or you could be yourself learning something related to Jupiter, which will increase your interaction with people. So for all three Mercury ruled nakshatras, it's a favorable time, but very special for the Ashlesha people. So all three, Ashlesha, Jyeshtha and Revati, it's a favorable time for you. Then the Ketu ruled nakshatras, which are Magha, Mula and Ashwani. So not very fortunate. It's a time for some kind of a change. Some values of yours could go through a major change right now. There could be sudden incidents happening that may cause your beliefs to change, your values to change. The 8th house effect and theme would be prominent, especially if Jupiter is not a very favorable planet for you. For instance, if Jupiter is your Badkesh or your Markesh, your 6th, 8th, 12th lord, and then it's transiting through this particular star, then you will feel the impact more if you're also going through a dasha. So not very favorable transit for you. And for the Magha ruled natives, especially related to your career, there could be ups and downs. And then I'm going to be talking about the Venus ruled nakshatras, Bharani, Purva Falguni, Purva Bhadrapad. Generally a favorable time for you. It's a time for achievement. For Purvashada, it's an important time to start off with certain activities that will give you a lot of peace of mind. So if you want to start off with some mantra chanting or any other such activity like meditation, then this is a very favorable time for you. For Bharani, so you could be a little disturbed. See where Jupiter rules in which signs, which houses in your chart does Jupiter rule. So those things related to those houses could be a little disturbing for you. And for Purva Falguni, this is a time for professional achievement. It's a time for some kind of a cycle completing. So maybe you've taken certain projects, certain tasks, and now you will be completing those. It's also important where relationships are concerned. You could be tying the knot right now. In this transit, you could be interacting more with people. It's an important transit for getting married, for getting into a relationship, for some kind of a professional achievement and for some kind of cycles completing for Purva Falguni. For Purvashada, like I said, important for your peace of mind. So any activities you start now will be very supportive. Then the Sun ruled nakshatras, which are Kritika, Uttar Falguni and Uttarashada. You will require a lot of willpower, a lot of energy. You may come across obstacles, especially Uttar Falguni, obstacles related to career. Uttarashada, obstacles generally on a day-to-day life. In whatever you're doing, you may feel you're getting stuck up again and again. So some willpower, extra willpower will be required in this transit, especially if you have a dasha of Jupiter. Then the moon ruled nakshatras, Hasta, Rohini and Shravan. So especially for Shravan, there can be some kind of a disturbance. Things related to Jupiter will be on your mind quite a bit. You'd always be, thinking about the houses that Jupiter rules. A big, major changes related to your thinking, related to how your mind functions, related to your ideas, your moods. So there could be major changes for Shravan. For Hasta, it's an important time, good time. Some kind of talents you may feel connected to Jupiter, that you're able to, connect with your career. So important time for Hasta as well. But generally a good time for all three stars, Rohini, Hasta and Shravan. And then we have the Mars ruled nakshatras. In order to fulfill your desires, there's going to be extra effort that you make to fulfill the objectives that you have in mind. Something that pulls you out of your comfort zone. So more effort, more challenges coming out of your comfort zone in order to achieve your objectives. For Mrigashira, there will be situations which you have been dreading, and some of your fears that you may now have to face, some situations that you have been dreading, and some endings. Like I said, this is a two-faced person, looking at the past, looking at the future. Some change between the past and the future, especially for Mrigashira, can be seen in this transit. Especially if you have a dasha, then you will feel this more prominently, but definitely it's going to be there. The effect is definitely going to be there. Some kind of a transition, some kind of a change, something that you fear, you worry. Next 2 months it's going to happen for you, but all in all, it should be positive. It should not be a negative experience, but not an easy transit. Change is never easy, transition is never easy. So something that you fear, that kind of a triggering effect will be there. And for Dhanishta, you will feel on a day-to-day basis, you're coming across more obstacles, more problems, especially if you have a Jupiter dasha. And for Chitra, this could be more obstacles in your work, more struggle in your work, in achieving your targets possibly. And you have the Rahu ruled nakshatras. So for Swati, for Ardhara, and for Shatbishak, it is a fortunate time. For Ardhara, this is an important time for healing, for some kind of abundance, for optimism. You will be feeling very optimistic. But the flip side is sometimes we feel so optimistic about things that we do not put in the right action. So beware of that, Ardhara. And for Swati, it's again a time to sit and re-evaluate your situation. What are the obstacles that you're facing? What kind of problems do you have? Because it's a fortunate time. It's a good time for achievement. And it's a good time to re-evaluate. With Jupiter's transit in this particular star, it's a good time to sit and evaluate what your problems are and what kind of solutions you need for those problems. And it's also all about relationships and gains. So you may also be re-evaluating your relationships. If you are in a bad relationships, then this transit is not good. Then you will be sorting out things. Maybe this relationship which you have been not happy in may be weighing too much on your mind, and but it's a good time to reevaluate and see what you want to keep and what you want to let go. It's generally a good time, but it's a good time also to see what is gainful for you and what is more of an obstruction for you, and then to get rid of those things. And like I said, for Ardhara, it's a good time. It's a good time for achieving. It's a good time for feeling happy, for your state of mind, for your mental peace, happiness, for being optimistic. So good transit for you as well. See you guys in the next video. Keep watching. Remember to look up the links below. Bye-bye for now.